Hey guys, it's Brandon. Trying out a new video recording system here. It's Camtasia. I'm trying out the free trial to see how the video quality is. So I thought we'd do some kibitzing on the old ICC right now. GM Adaptation is playing. That's very strong Grandmaster Caruana, rated FIDE rating 2780 something. He's like 4 or 5 in the world right now, and he's playing on ICC. So okay, now that I've done this intro, I have no idea what opening was played here. D4, knight f6, c4, g6. Oh, it was a Grunfeld. So we've got a Grunfeld coming here, and I don't know about this is h4. I guess he wants to play h5 at some point, or use that as a knight hook here. Is he going for some kind of kingside attack already? He has to still get his king castled in this position. So he's playing I am Pulvetted. It's Daniel Pulvet. Okay, oops. So you can see in the profile here it's Caruana. So unless he's totally lying, but I don't think it is. I mean, I'm pretty sure it isn't, because he always has one of the highest, the highest ratings going on the Internet Chess Club, and I don't think they would let him just get away with having that in his name if it wasn't true. I'm sure they verified it. So anyway, the D pawn is of course the main trump in the Grunfeld for white. Usually in a lot of these variations, he gets a D pawn that he can push down the board, but it's blockaded at the moment. So this is a 5-minute game. I was thinking it was a 3-minute game. So still has to do something about his king here. King's in the open file. This bishop is in a pin. I don't know if he wants to trade lights for bishops. Maybe he could think about something like f3. And he just puts the bishop on c4, attacking the f7 pawn, and then the knight comes out to defend. Okay, so now he's got some pressure on some points in black's position. f7, b7, and after castles, maybe he can think about something like f4 to push the knight away, and then check, picking up the exchange and a pawn. So he tries to deal with that threat. I guess that if he played f4, oh, he's just going to do it anyway, f4. So now I think he has to take the knight here. Maybe. But then f takes, and then he's still got pressure on the f7 pawn. So if pawn takes, now maybe he has to take the knight, so it's not a huge deal. But yeah, pawn takes knight, pawn takes knight, pawn takes pawn, bishop takes f7 check, picking up the exchange. Could be dangerous. So what's black to do here? Maybe knight to d3. This pawn on c4 is attacked, but at least it gives the knight a temporary square on d3. Although knight d3, he can take on f7 check and pick up the exchange, or just pick off the e4 pawn. So this is looking sort of dangerous here for black. I'm not sure. I really don't know what the best play is. So, but he goes in for knight d3.
Check.
It does attack the rook on c1, so he can take the exchange. Oh, he decides not to take the exchange. He's just going to leave the knight there on c3 and just hope that he finds compensation for the knight.
Check.
For the exchange there. And okay, in comes a knight check. This is idea knight to e5. Give back the pawn, but at least eliminate this very powerful bishop. It's a possibility. Yeah. Oh, the knight was still hanging, of course. So knight takes. Maybe knight takes rook now is the best. Give back the exchange, and he's going to be down a couple of pawns here, because after knight takes, rook takes, he had lost the f7 pawn. c4 is hanging. I'm doing full screen record, so I can just turn on the engine here. Yeah, it thinks white is better by about a pawn and a half. Seems to make sense. The computer wants to take on c1. Oh, and the bishop is also hanging though. He just decides to take there and take the pawn. So 4, 5. So pawns are even, so it's just an exchange now. And now probably he's going to trade off this bishop. Oh. So now this bishop is in a pin. And the rook is now attacking g7. And the bishop is pinned. Can you play that? Queen takes? No. Alright, so just defending the rook. I was wondering if you could play it here, here, queen takes queen, and then discovered check, but I don't think so. So the bishop was interposing the rook defending the other rook, so we had to get that out of the way. So what we have here is a situation where white actually has a pawn for the exchange when this is all shaken out here. But now he's picking off the c4 pawn. No, he doesn't want the c4 pawn. He wants to create some weaknesses. Black can't take here because the bishop on f5 is hanging. So he just decides to create some weaknesses here. But it did give black a chance to defend the pawn with b5, so I don't know. This position is probably, I mean, it's obviously better for white because he's up the exchange for a pawn, but I don't know if it's winning. So the queen coming to f2 attacking the bishop, but it's also, he has to keep an eye on the a7 pawn. So maybe queen to f7, but then g4, but then bishop here. So yeah, queen to c7. Sort of defending everything in the position. I don't know, this is probably not an easy technical win or anything. He does have a significant edge on the clock though. A minute and, well, just about a minute. And yeah, maybe it's hard to say whose king is in more trouble, but it looks like black's actually sort of in more trouble. I don't know if there's going to be any counterplay here with the queen coming to d1. Doesn't look like anything if king h2. Yeah, maybe rook g3. No. He just wants to keep the pressure on the bishop, I guess.
Check.
Yeah, okay, so he tries this queen counterattack, but I don't think it goes anywhere after king h2. Yeah, he just has to defend the queen here. Defend the bishop. Now, it's hard now to keep the bishop defended. He has to go queen to c2 or queen to b1 to keep the bishop defended. Oh no, the bishop's defended by the king though. It's no longer two attackers on it. So, but his real issue is, of course, the time. He's got a very big time deficit here. And maybe rook d6 is a check as a threat. Yeah, maybe rook d6 and queen f6 could be a threat. I'm not sure. And then if the king goes down, rook to d4. I don't know, it looks dangerous. Like, so king f6 check, king comes down, rook d4 check. Looks dangerous to me. Bishop blocks. Rook d4 check.
Check.
Yeah. Queen e5 check. Probably. But maybe bishop to e4. I mean, this must be winning, right? There's got to be a mate or something here. Oh, it's plus 12. Oh, he wants to play queen g5 check.
Check.
Computer. Yeah, he found it. King e2.
Check.
And he found queen e7 check, which is what the computer wants to play. Now you have to give up the bishop, says the computer. Who can calculate any of these things except these top GMs, right? I'm not really good at calculating the king running around here.
Check.
4. Yeah. The problem is now the queen has to block. There's no other move. He has to give up the queen.
Black forfeits on time.
Yeah, he forfeited on time, but he had to give up the queen
check.
Here. And then he can go
check.
Queen c5 check, and then pick up the bishop here. So, all right, an interesting game. Let's hope he plays some more here. I'm following him, so he should be playing some more, or maybe he's left. Let's see. He's still here, so we're following him. We'll see if he plays another one. Mateus, this is another super strong GM. This is Maxime Bachir-Lagrave.
Check.
Super strong
Black
French GM.
Forfeits on time.
But yeah, he's usually playing bullet when he plays on here, and that's nearly impossible to follow on to do any commentary on. So especially for me. So all right, we got Fabiano is playing again, and he's playing Harmony, GM Harmony from Germany. And this is a 3-minute game, so it's going to be a little quicker. This is George Meyer. Oh, this is a guy who he played at Dortmund this year. Very strong GM, 2600 or so. The big German tournament, Dortmund, this year. They featured a bunch of strong German GMs, including this guy. Although I don't think his score was particularly good. And I think maybe Caruana actually also played in that tournament. and won it, maybe, or that may have been last year. I'm not sure. So, okay, so knight f3, d5. Some kind of English we have going here. I was busy again talking. Was this some kind of? I guess this was some kind of English transposition opening. So, queens have been traded, and the pawn structure is symmetrical. So, I guess black got an even position out of the opening here. Is white going to be able to come on the g file, the c file? He's got a nice bishop here that's controlling the c7 square. Although he's not going to be able to hang on to the bishop on that diagonal. Let's see, knight h5 at some point, but then bishop e5. Then he can try to trade bishops. But in any case, it looks like he's quick here on the c file. So, okay, the knight comes to d7. What's the idea here? I'm not sure. Maybe he wants to play e5, take the bishop and play e5, but there's a lot of pressure on d5, so I don't think he can get away with that. Knight c5. Not sure where that would be going. So striking in the center with e4. Takes is the idea to play knight takes. Try to get something done that way. I'm not sure. d4, is that a move? No, he just takes it with the knight. Bishop takes and then d4. Okay, so he decides to exchange in the center. Still keeping the pawn structure symmetrical. So let's see what Caruana decides to do. He's got a bit of a time disadvantage here. Down about half a minute. In a 3-minute chess game, that's a lot. So, but George Meyer, or I'm not actually even sure how to pronounce his name, but he's putting in some thought here. So, giving away his time, I was really investing some time here to try to get something out of this opening. I don't know, I mean, maybe e5 was an idea just to press for some space. But I guess he could take the knight and then play something like g5 and then the e5 pawn would fall. So, trying to put some pressure on e4, but I don't know, this knight on b6 seems a little bit out of place. You know, this knight on d4 seems very nice. He just wanted to get out of a threat of e5 there, I think. So, coming into c5, maybe d3 is a square it would like to be on. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of one of those positions where the pawn structure is basically symmetrical. I mean, both sides have the bishops, and maybe white is slightly better here with the c file, but it's hard to suggest any plan, especially for me in these types of positions. I'm just like, well, I don't know, move the pieces around and try to put them on better squares and see what happens. So he decides to just bolster his center there, and now he's actually falling behind on the clock. That's Meyer. Okay, the knight coming in he must play bishop f2 now, right? That had to be the point of that, besides to bolster the center. Do you want to give up the dark square bishop here in this type of position? You know, I mean, I wouldn't think he would have played anything like that. He comes in with this knight anyway, forking, and he's going to pick up the dark square bishop either way. So, what's the plan now? He can't be thinking about giving up the exchange. He just has to give up the bishop. And the pawn on. Yeah, so now take the bishop, I guess, and take the knight here. No, he just decides to take the knight with the king. So now black is definitely, I would think, better in this position. And now pinning the knight on d4 and attacking it. So if rook takes here, then it takes the knight with check. But yeah, the dark squares are really, really weak for Meyer now, and Caruana capitalizing on that immediately, putting this knight into a pin. So still, this knight is hanging. So okay, he comes back with check. King coming up the board, attacking the knight. Pile up on the pin, maybe? Just decides to get the knight out of the way. This light square bishop is sort of not doing anything, having been pushed up here, but really the problem is the clock. Alright, he takes the f7 pawn. I don't know, is there there's some issues here? Oh, he just decides to try to trade rooks here. Even on pawns, maybe this is an okay defense. I mean, I think black is still slightly better. I mean, he's going to win on time, but
check.
Yeah, he's going to win on time, but black is obviously slightly better here because of the bishop pair and about to lose on time. But I think this is probably holdable. Let's see what the computer says. Yeah, very slight edge for black here in this position. And, but you know, it's blitz chess.
White forfeits on time.
Yeah, he just lost the game on time there. Yeah, it was hard to say what was really going on. You know, the positions like this, to me, to my eye, look relatively equal. If we turn on the computer here, yeah, just this very slight edge for white. And this is one of those. Well, this I guess was a blunder, knight de2, but and now this is much better for black. Yeah, this knight c4 maneuver was strong. Knight d3. Yeah, knight takes b2. And the computer wants to play b5 here. Okay, well, anyway, we'll stay on for maybe a couple more games. So now he's playing Charles Tejas or something. International master Carlos Obregon from, is that Argentina? I think that's the Argentinian flag. Yep. So what do we have here? d4 and f6, knight f3, d5, c4. So some kind of Queen's Gambit declined exchange variation here, and white's trying to pick up the two bishops. So, oh, interesting. He decided to really knight f5. Huh? What happens now if yeah, I don't know, that knight on g3 doesn't look particularly well placed. I mean, it is sort of attacking e4 there, and now the bishop too. So maybe white can try to strike with e4, but black has the two bishops now, and both kings are uncastled. So I guess white can try
server announcement
queenside castle, which he does, and hope that. I mean, I think black can safely kingside castle here. It'll be very tough to mate him with the dark square bishop, and no dark square bishop for white to try to change. But he doesn't even bother. He just castles queenside too and says, "I have a bishop pair. How are you gonna go forward in this position?" So right now, I believe e4 is not possible because of bishop takes d4, and now taking advantage of the pin, attacking the queen, and now check on a7 is possible.
check.
Yeah, so picking up a pawn there with a nice tactic that was
check.
But the knight's trapped. So okay, so he decided to trap the knight for a bunch of pawns. So he won 3 pawns for the knight there. I guess hoping to have a nice attack on the now very exposed black king. But quickly comes the queen to b4. Now threatening, well, not threatening at the moment, but keeping the threat of queen checkmating on b7 in the position. So trying to get the king out of the way here, maybe slide a rook in for the defense on b8, or actually probably knight to b8 is a threat here, double attacking the bishop and attacking the queen at the same time. Knight b8 seems like a threat. Yeah, not sure how to really deal with that threat. The bishops, unfortunately for black in the long run,
check.
Are you can just take the bishop here, right? Yeah, that's nice. So nice rook lift. This could be very dangerous. He might have to give up the queen here, even if. What about check here? Check, give up the queen, takes, and then takes the queen here. So, oh, is the queen trapped? That's a problem.
White resigns.
The queen is actually trapped, so
check
here, he just takes it, and then that's obviously winning. And the queen is just trapped. It's got no squares to go to, no squares to really retreat. Well, actually, you can go out here to f4. What's wrong with queen f4 here? Bishop d8, apparently. Yeah, queen f4, bishop d8. What's the threat there? Maybe the threat would be bishop to c7, attacking the queen. I don't have the examine function on, so it's not really letting me make new moves or anything. But All right, let's hang out here and see if he gets see if he starts playing one more game. If he doesn't relatively quickly, we can yeah, one more game. So this is a 5-minute game versus
server announcement.
The champ, International Master Rasmus Skite, Dutch Blitz Champion 2006. Okay, so strong Blitz player, I guess. And we're getting a Sicilian here, the Moscow or the Rosalimo variation. Instead of playing the open Sicilian, playing Bishop b5. I don't really know any of the theory here, so I'm not going to comment on the lines here. But the idea here was the knight came out here to attack the bishop. I don't think white wants to take and bring a pawn to d4. Have to move this knight again. Although takes, and then knight to b5, double attacking the queen and the pawn. Is that not a move? Maybe queen e5 is just a good defense there. So stopping knight to b5. I don't know about h3. Is that really a necessary move? I mean, don't you want to try to focus on development? Obviously, the bishop was not going to be going to g4 anytime soon. Maybe you wanted to stop knight g4, knight g4, knight to e5 types of stuff. But he's investing time here in this opening for some reason. Yeah, okay. Just try to get the bishop out. Yeah. So only one square there. Is this actually trapping the bishop? No, he can play c4, takes, and then bishop comes to a4. And then queen to... Oh, okay, he decided to take the bishop with the knight. Now has the bishop pair again. He's getting the bishop pair in a lot of these games. But black moves forward quickly with e5 in the center. Yeah, I think just knight d5 takes, bishop takes, and this is probably fine. So he doesn't want to do that. He just wants to bring the knight into e4. Looks like a nicely placed knight. I mean, he could possibly sacrifice on f6 at some point. Could be a possibility. But now f6 ruling that out. So let's see. Takes. Could be an option. Black king is still in the center. But, you know, how to get at it is the question. And what to do now. Bishop h4, bishop d2. Do you want to hang on to the two bishops? It's going to be maybe sort of tough for black to castle, but maybe he can castle queenside, put a rook on the g file, and try to use this bishop here on b7, you know, pointing at g2 in combination with the rook on the g file. Could be dangerous attacking plan here. So like bishop d2, and bishop h4. Okay, so he wants to keep this pawn on f6 from going anywhere. Well, he can still. He'd have to take the yeah. So castle, maybe queenside. Or he's just going to go for f5 immediately. Is the idea if bishop takes to play king takes? No, he'll probably play knight takes just to clear a piece out of the way for this bishop. Although bishop takes and then takes the knight. Can you take the knight? Because this knight on f3 is hanging. No, he decides not to. So now maybe knight g3 is probably the best square for this to go. Just try to block the g file. It's not going to be a permanent. It's not going to be a permanent piece there because he can always play f4 at any point and just chase the piece off of that square. But I mean, well, Caruana put his king in the middle. Yeah, queen d2. I was just thinking about queen d2 and then queen to g4. G5 could be a threat just to get in the dark squares, but rook g8 probably is okay for that. You'd probably play then queen to h6. Queen to h6, eyeing this f6 square, and then maybe c4, just to chase this knight off of the d5 square where it's defending. But instead, Caruana decides to just stop the queen from coming in by playing knight to f4, which is obviously a very dangerous attacking square, eyeing the g2 and h3 pawns, rook g2, attacking the g2 square again, and then g3 isn't really what you want to play because of the pawn hanging with check here. And what's going on here? Oh, we can take this because the knight is hanging otherwise. Yeah, but now check. This must be really dangerous, right? Check. And then the king can't even... I don't think the king can get away with going to h2 because of discovery check. I'd be surprised if that was possible. So he's just doing some calculations here, I guess. But I don't know. Check would be the move I would play. That's what the computer thinks. Knight h3 check the computer wants to play. Yeah. It's giving black a big advantage here. -2 pawns almost, which is certainly enough for somebody like Caruana to capitalize on. He's got a little bit of a time edge here. So knight to h3 check, king h2. He could also just pick up this knight after that. Knight h3 check, king h2. No, king h2 is not legal. Knight h3 check, king h1, and then queen takes here is possible, but then maybe there's counterplay with queen to g5 check. But actually, no, the knight on h2 will be guarding that square. So maybe queen to f.
Check.
Oh, played the rook. He played the move I would have played. Yeah, knight check. Yeah. Now this knight is hanging, and to me the question is, right, how to get the queen into the position here. Yeah. Because now he's got this counterplay. He's attacking the knight, and he's got counterplay on the h pawn here. So take the knight, or go for the check first. Probably go for the check first. Well, he decides to just take the knight. Maybe his argument is, yeah, he probably doesn't want to open the h file. That's probably just a stupid idea. Open the h file where his king is, and you can just bring some rooks in. So instead of going for some kind of mating attack, maybe it wasn't even there. Caruana is just picking off some weak pawns. I mean, these are really weak pawns now. 1, 2, 3, 4 isolated, double isolated pawns now. And
check.
If you can survive with his king in the center here, then he should be good. But maybe is he getting some counterplay here? Obviously couldn't go to d1 because of rook to d6 because of rook d1, and now threatening rook to h8.
Check.
So what's the solution here? Is this a draw? King here? Is there like a perpetual check? Maybe he gets a perpetual check here. King going to h3 check, or can the king try to get away via? I don't know. Maybe it's a perpetual check here. King to f8 check, queen to h6 check. Rook. Oh, okay, he's just going to interpose with the rook. Really going for the win here. I'm not sure. Is that viable? Apparently it was. Apparently this is like mating now.
Check.
Apparently rook h8 was mating. Now queen takes f3. Ah, okay, yeah. And now this is
checkmate.
Okay. All right, that was interesting. I thought maybe there was some perpetual ideas there, but yeah, this is apparently just winning because of the king being so exposed, and then the rook coming over. This rook cutting off the g file. It's just like, what's the defense? So, all right, some interesting games. You guys, let me know how the audio and the video was on this. So, some interesting games, and we'll see you next time.